Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. I am V, and today we're going to have a pretty candid conversation about burnout. Now, how many of you have been on your awakening journey and have experienced burnout? I think experiencing burnout on your awakening journey feels different than, you're working a job you hate and then you get burnout because, you know, you're gassing out your adrenals. On your spiritual awakening journey, I find that this comes when you are too open vibrationally and energetically. And a lot of the times, the way that we're taught about burnout is to do less. Well, if you're experiencing burnout, do less. And I've actually found that as somebody whose nervous system in the past was wired for survival, that didn't work for me. That didn't work for me because it felt like that was impossible to grasp. Do less, telling somebody's body who only knows survival to do less doesn't work. However, when I asked myself, is it really about doing less, or is it really just about the fact that the way that I'm doing it is not allowing me time in between to calibrate? I'm not having any pauses in my day. Then suddenly, I felt like I could grasp my burnout and actually take actionable steps towards healing it. And so, my first question for you, if you have experienced spiritual burnout before, is how open are you throughout your day? And by that, I mean, do you have any protocols or practices in place that allow your energy to close down, to intentionally open up? If not, I definitely recommend that you check out the Sovereign Healer School, because the Sovereign Healer School is literally the foundation, the universal foundations to be able to access your sovereignty and have full control over your own energy. But that's the first question, how open are you on a day-to-day basis? And from here, when you are so open, how often are you taking time between races? Is it one lap and then another lap and then another lap and then another lap? And can you see how lapping without taking time to grab some water, take some deep breaths, put a cold towel on your head is actually burning you out? Not actually the action of doing. There's nothing wrong with running the race. There's nothing wrong with running because you enjoy it. But there is a lot that we can grow upon and work on in between. And so this is what I call bleed throughs. If you think about like a slug or a snail and how when they're on the ground, they basically pick up everything along their track. If you can imagine that visual, that's what it feels like when you're experiencing burnout. There's only so much you can carry with you. And there's only so much that a person can be open. And I think this is the trap that we've gotten into and why we're experiencing at such an accelerated rate an extraordinary amount of spiritual burnout. So can we reframe together that it's not necessarily about the fact that you do too much, but it's just the fact that you bleed through while you're doing? And then I just want you to reflect. What are some of the things that I could choose in between those bigger moments that would allow me to feel more grounded, that would allow me to feel like I took a breath or a sip of water between the next race? Whether that means you had a work meeting and then you've got 15 minutes and then you use that time not to scroll, but instead to do a little bit of a body scan meditation, or perhaps drink some water and be conscious to the fact that you're drinking water. Perhaps eating a light lunch and actually being fully present instead of, sitting there and scrolling and catching up with an email. Can you just do the thing that you were doing and then take that intentional beat in between the next thing that you're doing? It doesn't have to be super glorified. It can be, like I said, as simple as, well, I'm already eating, so let me just not eat and scroll social media at the same time. Or I do have to drink water. And so why don't I just be super conscious and present in this moment? Why don't I just bring my attention to what I'm doing in this moment to allow myself to take all my energy that's been out here and just pull it back in for a minute? And that's as long as it needs to take sometimes. So in between what you are doing, can you create intentional time so your day doesn't feel like a bleed through, but now you're here, and then you pause. And now you're here and you pause. And now you're here and you pause. The gift of this is that you can take your time moving out of survival. And there's no need to carry the shame that comes with that as a byproduct because we're not trying to get out of survival. We're just trying to create more space. Instead of reading a book without punctuation, we're adding in that punctuation. And you can change that today. You can work on that today. You can choose that today. Choose to do less multitasking and choose to be more present in between task, pause, task, pause, task, pause. And then notice, how do you start to feel? Do you notice a shift in your energy? In my experience, I noticed a significant shift simply by not feeling like I had this big mountain to climb, such as trying to rewrite survival, and that felt impossible. But then I felt like I could be capable of it if I split up my tasks with just a little bit of pause and a little bit of grace and a little bit of presence. And suddenly I felt like I had more presence in the things I was doing, but more capacity and strength to be able to do it. So let me know how this feels. Try this on for size. And remember, we're here to secure our ascension. That's what this channel is about. If we experience continuous interference, if we experience continued attack, we're not going to be able to experience the full strength of what we came here to do. And so being able to minimize burnout by actually taking our life with more intention is an extraordinary way to do just that. So if this message resonated with you, I'm so thankful that you're here. Please like, share, subscribe, send it to your bestie who's, burnt out and feels like they don't have a way out. Let me know if this resonates, and I will see you all again very soon.